Welcome, everyone.
Hello. So we're recording now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Welcome everyone to our this is going to be our topic for today, which is going to be tied into the upcoming Valentine's holiday. We came in here today to get one in before Valentine's Day, and we're going to be discussing what is love, and that love begins with oneself. And I think what really popped into my mind. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is James Francis. We're here at the New Mexico State University Grants Branch, the recording studio. I got our audio guy Tommy here, so we got us our background music. Today we're listening to Mozart Symphony Number 40.
Good
and
stuff.
It's awesome. We got us all, and we got Miss O'Connor here. And so today's topic is gonna be around the Valentine's holiday, and the first thing that pops into my mind when I think of Valentine's Day is, of course, the love for your significant other if you're in a committed relationship. And unfortunately, I think that just like with Christmas, we kind of have these ideas imposed upon us about what Valentine's Day should be, which is we got to go out and buy flowers. We got to have us our sweethearts, and if not, we're going to die alone and surrounded with cats, and the cat eating my face probably when I'm about 60 years old. But
you gotta show that you appreciate them.
yeah. So, but I think that's basically where a lot of us get caught up in, is these kind of like imposed ideas, is what I like to refer to them as. We have these kind of beliefs imposed upon us that we should have we should be in relationships, and if we are around Valentine's Day, we got to buy flowers and commit ourselves and all this. But
it's not just another day to go home and watch movies and cry.
Cry into my cat's fur. And
It's one of the few things to appreciate it is the discount after sales.
and
That's where it is.
Those hearts of chocolates, yeah.
Yeah.
eat all those free chocolates and lawn for the one that got away years ago. And
Yeah. That's the vibe.
so we have a couple handouts that Miss O'Connor was kind enough to prepare for us, and it states, what is love? And love begins with yourself. Love comes to you when you cultivate love within yourself, for yourself, as well as for others. It says to one, take care of yourself, eat healthy, exercise, stay away from toxins, liquids, smoking, alcohol, toxic people, toxic environments.
Right.
Explore your negative emotions and trauma. Forgiveness is a part of this self-love. Release them and let them go and forgive. Don't act out from your shadow, from those suppressed those
emotions.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And to acknowledge them. And
Right.
I like the first two, and we can just start off with that, and we'll work our way down the list.
Right. Well, because this is a podcast about wellness and recovery, I wanted to bring in the fact that one of the first things we need to do is to love ourselves.
Yes.
And to look at our history, look at our path, and look at the things that we are unhappy about ourselves. And when we can start forgiving ourselves for some of the things we've done in the past, or forgive ourselves for doing some of the things we've done in the past,
Right.
we can begin to start loving ourselves. And when we love ourselves and cultivate that within us, other people are able to see that and love us as well, and we're able to love other people. But until we develop that trust of ourselves and that forgiveness, and and cultivate that love within, it's awfully hard to walk the path of partnership or love of others. And so that's what I wanted to bring today to this podcast.
Yeah, and I like that we're having this this topic. I like the one that we did on Thanksgiving about preparing for those environments that we're going to be walking into around this time of celebration or the holidays, like this. So, and for me, that's a big part of it, is learning how to love myself, forgive all these past actions that I've done in the past, and continue to move forward in a positive way, understanding that, acknowledging my feelings and recognizing both the positive and negative feelings and being able to deal with them accordingly is what's going to keep my life going in a more or less
Forward.
yeah, cruise control in a good way, but still, as I always say in seems like every podcast, that we always run into these unexpected challenges, these speed bumps, these
Yep.
that challenges that life throws at us. But number 3 here says that love is action, and I like that. Be love in action. Love has a ripple effect. Lend people a helping hand and reach out to others. Visit them, help them, feed them, make a difference in people's life. And for me, that goes back to my recovery program, and I know that the 12 step talks about service to others, and that's exactly what this is. It's service, helping others the way we would want to be helped. And I like to use the golden rule a lot in my life in terms of how I try to live my life these days to the best of my abilities as well.
Right. Well, a lot of times we forget that sometimes we're stuck in our trauma and stuck in our worry and stuck in our stress, and
Yeah.
when those speed bumps come along and life happens, we feel like, oh, the world is against me. Everything's going wrong all the time. And
Right.
yet part of it is that's life. Life happens all the time to everybody all the time. Part of the problem here is when there's been an addiction, when there's been problems in the past, we tend to have a heightened emotion. So when something happens, it's like it's not just, oh, it's just a speed bump. Oh my God, it's a mountain that's happened. It's a big
Yeah.
trauma, and we tend to have a perception that everything's bad all the time. All the bad things happen just to me, and we tend to not consider that we're having this perspective that's maybe not a positive perspective, simply because of where we've been, the path we've walked, the traumas we've had to walk through, and how we have to put our lives together or
Go
you
through
know,
with it.
right.
Because like not only with it's more or less of like a response whenever you feel like those things are overwhelming you, in a sense. Like it's a way of your mental and emotional, like making you like, oh, like in New Mexico we see a big old cloud coming, and it's like everybody else who is like out of state is like, oh no, we're in for a thing for a little bit, but like we see a cloud like 2 minutes tops. And it looks overwhelming, but like sometimes like our emotional state kind of like prepares us to take on that whatever it is that's oncoming, and sometimes it overstates it to where like we can be able to handle that because like for so long that's how we've been handling everything else.
We see it as a catastrophe when it's just a speed bump.
Yeah. And thrown into and on a slightly related subject, I know this past weekend up at the old Acoma Village, we had our celebration for the new administration, our officers' feast coming in. But during that time, we have our traditional dances. We have our all our family comes together to come and celebrate all the men who have been selected to fill those positions. Um, Over this past weekend, I had that opportunity to reflect upon, my life and where it's going and where it's been and where I'm sitting at now these days. And one of the things that occurred to me was that, we're given this gift of life, and we have this ability to take it for granted by doing these things to ourselves, such as, messing around with drugs and alcohol, and we forget that life is a blessing each day, and
Oh
we should be
man.
thankful for it. And number 3 says that we should visit and help, and be thankful for the things that we do have. And I take that to mean that, I still have my grandparents, I still have my family, my friends, and we're all doing well, and and I'm thankful for that.
And sometimes when you kind of lapse into a little bit of depression,
Mm-hmm.
you're just thinking about yourself too much. Maybe
Yeah.
it's time to think about somebody else and reach out and help others.
And it's easy to get stuck in those ruts when it seems like the world is against you, or just one bad thing piles up, or what's the saying? When it rains, it pours. Sometimes we run into those streaks of bad luck, but that's not to say that. And I know I always repeat myself, and I probably sound like a broken record by now, but it's always good, and it's always best to just ask for help. Ask for help from others, and we'll come together and we'll solve these problems the best we can.
And if you're whirling around in a tsunami of pain, reach out and ask for help. And I was thinking of what you said about, New Mexico. We see the rainstorm, the rain clouds coming. And I had a friend that was new here, and she kept saying, I keep hearing about the tsunami. How bad is it going to be? And then when it actually came, it was 2 minutes of rain?
Yeah, like the monsoon
Those
thing.
monsoon
Right,
seasons,
the
man.
monsoon or the tsunami or the monsoon season is.
Well, in the
We'll hear
desert,
about that.
I think we pray for
Yeah.
rain. We pray for the rain, but we always dread those windy days here.
Oh,
So-
it's the windy days.
yeah.
It's the windy days that really get you.
So it's that time of the season when that wind's going to be kicking up from roughly like maybe the end of February through most of March probably, and those April showers will come. But
And yet,
yeah, we dread those windy days here in New Mexico.
the wind is cleansing and clearing. You can
yeah.
release a lot in the wind if you just go out and let the wind blow you around.
Yeah,
Get sandblasted.
After I blew all the sand away,
Yeah.
then I'll go say. But I do gotta say though, like the best napping days are on windy days.
Oh yeah.
You hear that wind outside, whoo, knocking on everything. Doo, doo, doo. It's just perfect.
It's the healing forms of the wind is healing as well as other aspects of nature.
Oh yeah, it's all part of a cycle that has to occur. So that's
Right.
just how I see it.
Exactly.
And I remember one time in high school, I forgot, one of the teachers was from back east, and he said, "Dan, you guys have this like real windy days." And just without thinking, I said, "Well, the wind, it blows away all the bad stuff." And he said, "That's a real optimistic way of looking at things like that." And I didn't even think about it, but
Right.
that was just something that came to my mind. It's got to blow away all the smoke and
And
everything.
and instead of going out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
covering
yeah.
yourself up, fighting the wind,
Right.
why not dance with it? Why
Right.
not dance with it a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
tried that at the flea market, and I got swept off all the way across from the food section to the tires.
My hot dog got covered with sand. So
but the wind is definitely it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So love is action, and it has that ripple
Mhm.
effect. So when we put that energy of love out into the universe, it returns to us in a good way, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Number 4 states that love is energy.
Oh yeah.
Send your love out ahead of you. When you think of others, imagine helping them, hugging them, send love. The Heart Math Institute talks about the bioelectric magnetic field of the heart. This acts as a synchronizing signal for the rest of your body.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that whole idea of when you think of others, and I think of that for me is I've recently learned about the manifesting is what they call it.
Right.
I see it here in my mind, and as long as I have that positive, optimistic outlook that it's gonna occur, it does, So
Yeah.
at the beginning of every semester, I always imagine what the end is going to be like. And that end is going to be me passing all my courses, me, retaining all this good information that I'm working to keep. And
Like really helping people out.
it really becomes, it becomes.
Yeah.
And I like that bioelectric magnetic field. You gave me
Yeah.
that article to read, but unfortunately I didn't have a chance to read it.
Yeah.
But
It's from the Heart Math Institute, and I would encourage everybody to look for that because it talks about the heart being this bioelectromagnetic field of energy that's always with you. And for example, when the heart is in coherence with your lifestyle, you'll be healthier. Your body takes on that coherence and becomes healthier. And there's a synchronicity that occurs. Like when two people are in love, their hearts become synchronized. And so when that synchronization happens, they're healthier, they're happier, they
Especially when
feel
they're
better.
together.
That's right. And they've done a lot of research, and they've found that there's the same type of cells in the heart that are in the brain. And a lot of times we tend to think, well, our brain is our brain and our heart is our heart. And
Two
our heart is
separate.
the field of feeling, and the brain is our field of thinking. But in other cultures, for example, in China, the heart is actually more considered to be the brain.
Yeah.
And so
really?
you
that.
begin to start thinking about, instead of what do I think about this, start asking yourself, what do I feel about this? How do I feel? How does my heart feel?
Mhm.
And give your heart center stage. Are you taking action from the heart, or are you logically thinking through things and taking action from the brain, especially if it's very logical and sequenced? But it
Mhm.
may not be
It may not
necessary.
feel right.
It may not feel right. That's exactly right. If you're acting from the heart, it's more of an emotional state, an emotional place.
I feel that big time with my mixing and music whenever I help people with their art. It's like there are certain numbers and thresholds in the music that I work with to where like, oh, this is optimized to be at this point right here, or it sounds best at this point. But then like you're with the person you're recording with, and to them it's like no, actually like this. But then like it's not those numbers or that logical optimization. It's optimized right here.
It's the heart. It's the heart. It's the same with singing. If you sing, just knowing a song and singing it isn't enough. You need to sing it with emotion. You
Yes.
sing it with your heart. If you ever watch The Voice, that's what all the coaches are doing. They're like, well, let's put some feeling into this, put the emotion into this.
You got all the notes and the
Right.
words right.
And
Oh,
it
yeah.
can be a completely different song when that happens.
Oh yeah.
I like that. And you know what I've noticed too, and this probably sinks in with the synchronization, is that when we start realizing these things and becoming self-aware of our feelings, we can focus our thinking so that way we start vibrating at a higher level is how I say it. And what vibrating at a higher level means is keeping that optimistic, positive thinking going. And what that does is it has that ripple effect as well. So where you're vibrating at a higher level, it's going to attract those like-minded people who are vibrating on that same frequency as you as well.
Exactly.
And I've realized that. And, you know, the more I've come to understand these things, you know, where once I was filled with doubt and kind of like hesitation on
Yeah.
certain things, my intuition is now stronger than what I've realized it was before.
You kind of hear it more.
Yeah, I realized my intuition is stronger than what it was last year. And, you know, without a doubt, when certain positive things come in, it's not like, should I, or maybe I shouldn't. It's just like, go ahead, do it, man. Just
Yeah.
jump right into it and it's going to be okay. So,
Yeah.
Your intuition has like a bigger voice now.
yeah, exactly. And it's that positive thinking that strengthens that intuition that allows us to take these positive actions. And I like that, you know, so.
That's right. And when we talk about heart coherence, we're also talking about groups of people can come together with a similar idea or want to
Right.
put out a similar message or
Yeah.
feeling, and it will affect the environment. For example, there's a book called The Power of Five, and the name of the author is escaping me at the moment, but you can find that book, The Power of Five.
Want me to look it up real quick?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Well,
That's-
it'll
well,
be okay.
Yeah.
But basically, she it wants to study the outcomes in environments when people are praying. It goes along with the
Oh.
prayer studies. And one of the things they discovered is you could go to like a worn, torn area, say, you know, in
Right.
Jerusalem and Islam and, you know,
Like
kind of
really
in the
battered.
Middle East, really bad places where there's a lot happening. And she actually brought a power of, or maybe it's the power of eight. I don't think
Right.
it's the power of eight. She brought 8 people from
Mm.
all the different religions and all the cultures came together. And when they actually started praying together for the violence to end,
Mm-hmm.
it ended
hearing about that.
for 2 weeks. There was peace. And what
Ah,
they discovered is when they had these different groups come together and focus on different people, like healing illnesses or just sending love out to these war-torn places,
yeah.
that all of a sudden peace came upon them. Now, it
Ah,
didn't stay, but
mm-hmm.
what they discovered was there is some power in
In that
groups
energy.
groups coming together with a thought or a feeling and wanting to send that out to the world.
Especially for certain energy.
Right, right.
And I like that idea that you because I heard that same idea too about how the Chinese say that this is where your thoughts come from. It's yeah, your brain kind of processes it for you to understand. But I think all your feelings and all your thoughts come from right here in this area, like the solar plexus as well as the heart, because when you're doing good things, it just emanates and it like
You feel
circulates, yeah, through
good
your whole
inside.
body.
You feel warm.
It's what's a good example? Like if you give someone that maybe is on the street like $1, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like seen by people, but it's just that feeling that you get of knowing that you're doing it.
It feels good.
First of all, you don't hesitate. You're just like, here, man, because I know you need it. And if I was in your spot, then I know that I would be grateful for it. But it's that
And-
ability to lift you up, and it
Right.
feels good from right here, and it just goes.
I mean, especially if like you yourself aren't even in the like the best spot, but still like you help out your fellow man.
yeah.
I had a friend once, and hey Benny, if you're out there listening,
What's up, Benny?
my friend Benny, basically, he would be down to his last dime, walking on the street,
Uh-huh.
but always, just loving people, being with people, just being himself. And
Right.
if somebody came up to him and said, do you have spare any change? He would give his last bit of change to that person.
Yeah.
And then the next minute he would be offered a job in England or in Hollywood or in
Right.
Hawaii on a cruise ship or on a fishing boat. Like whenever he just gave his last whatever he owned away, something great would happen to him.
And that's that karma we talk about.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
universe at work, that
Right.
law, because that pendulum it swings, so whatever we swing it this way, it's going to swing back to us in a good
Right.
way too as well.
And karma,
Mhm.
which is kind of out of the Buddhist tradition,
Right.
it basically says that what you put out is what you get back.
Mhm.
So if you're cutting people off in traffic, flipping them off or whatever,
Yeah.
it'll be you that hits somebody and causes damage and has to end up, paying a lot of money down the
Yeah.
road. But it's not, karma isn't always instantaneous.
No.
Like I can't, be mean to somebody 1 minute and then have it happen to me the next minute.
Right.
It'll be like months down the road, you'll get
Yeah.
it. You'll be like, oh my gosh, suddenly I have to pay these fines, or I have to, or somebody broke up with me.
we
or
really
I
got to
lost a
set
job.
it up to really punch it in right there.
Right. And so it's what you carry with you in your heart, in your mind, how you treat people. Your energy has that ripple effect.
Oh, definitely.
So if you're sending love out and peace and joy and gratitude, all of that's going to come back to you.
I definitely believe it. I've seen it actually happen too, and it's just amazing because you don't really realize it at first either, because like,
Nah.
maybe whatever you've done, you forgot all about it, but
Yeah.
somewhere down the line, you get it paid back to you, and it
Yeah.
feels good. So.
Lately, I've been doing a little practice. It's like, the more often you can do these practices, the more that energy comes back to you. And I'll be like, maybe at like Whataburger or Lottaburger or some store or somewhere, and people are working. They're making the food, or they're making.
Oh, yeah.
They're working and they're doing their job, and they're just kind of sometimes stuck in that energy of, oh, I got to work. I got to get this done. I'm in a hurry. I don't have
Yeah.
enough time in the day. And what I've been doing is, when I say thank you to somebody for something they've done, I feel it in my heart and soul, and I'm like, thank you so much for this Lottaburger. I am so happy. Like, it's changed my day. I appreciate everything you've done to make it a great burger for me. It doesn't have to be that. It can be anything. But what I notice is those people, they open their eyes, they're lifted up, they're like, well, thank you.
They're like, oh,
Like that thank you really meant something. It's not just you just say, oh, thank you, whatever, and go on
Yeah.
with
Oh,
your
yeah.
life. It's from the heart, thank you.
And we've all experienced that feeling because we've all had people encourage us and thank us like that, and
That's
it feels
right.
good. It really does. And
That's right.
also like we all know what it feels like to be shoved off.
oh yeah,
Right.
to get that brush off.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Yeah, radiate compassion, radiate
go.
care, radiate love.
that caring, that like, I respect you here with us
mhm.
Yeah.
on this plane.
Okay, so number 5. Now we're getting into number 5. It says, get into heart coherence. When you are in heart coherence, you are aligned. When and while radiating compassion and care. Hold thoughts of gratitude and love for life, for others, for the earth, and for your health and prosperity. And this is probably like the beginning of that vision, that manifestation
Right.
that we were talking about. We manifest these positive thoughts in our mind. We get ourselves into that optimistic outlook of life of we're going to make it happen, and I know exactly what I have to do. And first and foremost, that starts with a positive attitude.
Right. You. When we think of heart coherence, we're really talking about being in the energy,
Yeah.
being in the energy of gratitude and love. Everyone thinks they can make a wish and manifest something. Manifestation doesn't work that way.
Right.
It's about energy. It's about where you put the energy, where you focus the energy, and also having a sort of a belief or a feeling that it's going to happen.
Real
and,
energy.
and letting it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
You think about it, you wish upon it, but you also have to take an action toward that.
Yes.
You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to wish this and it's going to happen. I want to, I'm going to do this great job." Well, maybe you need a degree, so you got to get on the
Right.
path to taking those steps
Mm-hmm.
little by little until you reach your goal, and in that way you kind of show the universe that I'm
Yes.
serious about this. I'm doing this thing, whatever it is.
Initiative.
Right.
And that's one thing that I finally realized is that we see all these good things in our mind, but at the same time, the universe sends the ways that it's going to happen, and it's up to us to start taking those steps to bring it into reality.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes the synchronicity happens, and all of a sudden, a person that you need to speak to shows up to
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Oh,
and,
I needed to see it today.
and that is
Yeah.
positively 100% absolutely true, because once we start making those steps and making those moves to accomplish whatever it is that we want for ourselves, then like you said, certain people will come to you with, oh, I can do this and yada yada, and it's just like, okay, well, I need your help.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty cool because I've had that experience a lot,
Yeah.
a lot, and people just happen to
What you need comes to you, and who you
Yeah.
need comes to you.
Yeah.
If you're serious, these synchronicities will happen, and it's so amazing when it does. You're like, oh, who knew?
Yeah, definitely.
Whoa. Okay. I needed that. Thanks, whoever. Yeah. It's you got to show that initiative to where the thing that you're trying to manifest, you got to show the gears of the universe that you want to shift into that way. It's not like, oh, great universe, I want happiness and gratitude by my desk at 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No. You got to show some kind of like I said, initiative to go towards that energy that you want to receive, but at the same time, you have to output that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just sit on the couch playing video games and say, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You have to take action.
Yeah.
But you know what just popped into my mind was the realization that, my life now
Yeah.
is somewhat of an answered prayer, for all the things that I have now, all those people out there that were praying for me and rooting for me to get well again, to get back on track, I thank them because they were out there day in, day out. And that's basically what our manifestations are doing as well when we send these positive thoughts and prayers out to the people that we love and care for, no matter if we know them or not. I
Right.
hope that all the people out there that are homeless, that they get themselves a nice house and a place to stay. All the people that are hungry, let them have
Right.
food. And that's
What?
one thing that I've come to realize is that I'm an answered prayer myself,
You
and
are.
I'm very, very thankful for everything that has come my way. But it's not just because of me, it's because of all the people out there who are constantly,
Oh,
praying for me and doing these things. So that's that heart vibration, and that's
Right.
that positive the ripple effect is
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah. We our lives are a gift.
Yep.
And if you dishonor it by not doing anything with it, then probably nothing is going to come your way. You sort of have to say, my life is a gift and I'm going to use this gift. I'm going to do something with it. And maybe, you have to decide what it is. You have to know what you're passionate about.
Yep.
The great thing
yeah.
about college is you can explore.
Oh yeah.
You can explore and find out, what are you passionate about?
Not just things, but people too.
Right, right. And people come, people have ideas. You learn something, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do this other thing, whatever.
Wait, you could do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then you find out more and more about yourself as a bundle of energy, and you figure out, what am I here for?
Yeah.
Really, what am I here for? What am I supposed to do?
And one thing I've
Yeah.
realized is that we can't be afraid to jump into it. I've become part of the ASG, and
Yeah.
that was a big step, because I was like, I never really participated in anything like that before, but through the ASG, we've been able to accomplish a lot of good things around here on the campus.
ASG is Associated Student Government
Yeah,
here at
and-
the college.
And we were able to get the ASG scholarship for like 5 students here.
Yeah.
We got the
Yeah.
hygiene shelves set up, so
Yeah.
and then we paid
Yeah.
for the welding class, and I think the other guys that went up to the creativity week. Yeah,
Okay.
that was cool. So
When
Yeah.
a group of people get together with a similar mindset or an idea of something they want to accomplish, they have the power to make massive change.
oh yeah, and it's not necessarily like one person coming and saying we're gonna do this and do that, but it's everyone coming together, putting all their ideas together and working to accomplish it for everyone.
Right. For example, there's a vast history of prayer studies, and I'm not advocating one religion over another or one type of prayer over another, but what they did discover through prayer studies is they would have like 500 heart patients that all had similar heart conditions, and they basically divided them into 2 groups. So you had 250 that had people that prayed for them, and then they had 250 that didn't have people pray for them. And over the longevity of the study, it was determined that the people that had a prayer, and this was by someone they didn't know. They didn't know what the prayer was or anything like that. But those 250 patients that got prayed for ended up healing and going on with their lives much quicker, much faster. The other group didn't. Some of them passed away, some of them
Oh wow.
didn't make it. And so what they discovered is, like, one of the prayers that the people that they used was "Thy will be done."
Yep.
And
Right.
so they've done lots and lots of studies like this.
So this kind of leads into number 6. What you're talking about is that bioelectric communication between people's hearts.
Mhm.
Having empathy and feelings of love brings an energetic information from one person to another, and it can lower pain levels. It can help people heal.
Mhm.
And recent study demonstrate that patients receiving the healing touch, such as in Reiki, heal faster than other patients with similar problems. And I totally believe that 100% too, because there are people with that power that have that healing touch, as they call it, and
Right.
it's
I really do believe in the power of prayer, like for real. Like it's a thing of like where um it's not like a rule, but like a thing of like if two people are together to pray, then it's come to pass with that. And like prayer is a powerful thing, because it's not only just you, but like it's for you, and like in that situation for somebody else, all those other people. And with that, like the person who's saying it, but also the person receiving it, both of them have those energies synchronized to where they can build off of each other to get to that end goal of healing.
Exactly. And again, prayer, affirmation, meditation, anything that's spoken out loud is powerful. And that's why when you say things against yourself,
Yes.
so many times I've said, "Oh, I'm such a screw up," or whatever. And
Right.
when we realize we're saying things like that, we need to take it back. No, I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not that way. I'm a
Just
good
kidding.
person. I'm smart. I can
Yeah.
do this, whatever it is. But we say
Yeah.
negative things to ourselves all
Yeah.
the time.
Hmm.
But
Need to catch ourselves.
taking it back, saying it in a positive way, can change the outcome of your day.
Yep.
And when we're talking about healing touch, when humans touch each other, they bring each other into coherence. And so when everybody was like, "Oh, healing touch, when Reiki, what is that?" But what it is when you think about things like when you fall down as a child, maybe you skin up your
Mm-hmm.
knees and you go crying to your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom picks you up and holds you and says, "It's okay. Let's put a band-aid on it. It'll be okay."
Mm-hmm.
That's a human touch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a human being saying to another human being, "It's going to be okay."
Yep.
And we need that. We need that encouragement. And when we talk about Reiki, Reiki is a system of healing touch, and we can go into what it is another time. But basically, in other countries, in hospitals and doctors' offices, they have Reiki masters that will sit with you and touch you and give you that sense of reassurance that you're okay.
Yeah, because when you think about it, what our bodies are is just one big machine. Our brains are run by electronic synapses between uh,
The little zappy
the
things.
dendrites, I think it was.
That's the bioelectromagnetic field.
Yeah, so when we touch
Yeah.
another person, we're sharing that connection of
Exactly.
electricity within our
Those real
bodies.
things.
And it goes back to whatever vibration that we're vibing at. If we're touching them out of love, if we're giving them encouragement and positivity, then yeah, it's gonna carry through, and I believe that 100%.
And when they did experiments with in hospitals and different places, they determined that they could do Reiki or they could hold a patient's hand. What happened was the patient, their brain waves would change, and they would change to match the person who was holding their hand. And
Wow.
also, what would happen is if they had a weak heartbeat, their heartbeat would get stronger and their heart
Wow.
would align or be in coherence with the person that was there with them, holding their hand
Wow.
and reassuring them that they'd be okay. And they did EEGs and ECGs, that's electrocardiograms, and brain scans and they looked at brain waves and heart waves, and they determined, wow, what is this? Somebody's holding someone's hand, and all of a sudden, the patient's brain waves and heart would change to match the person that was there with an intention of healing.
Yeah.
And
Just
so they're backing it up with science, guys. It's not
Yeah.
just a thought.
And like I said, like even though
Yeah.
studies have been done on this, and like people have watched how it works, scientifically, I think we're still just barely skimming the surface on giving us like empirical evidence. There's that word I like to use all the time.
yeah.
Empirical evidence. Empirical means it's backed by studies. It has data, and it shows in terms of, like, I guess, numbers and stats and everything. So
And like it could be
we can prove that.
replicated.
Yeah.
Truly, science is meant to help people determine what's happening, what's going on, what's really happening. And they really want to get a clear picture of what's happening
And be sure of it.
and be sure. I mean, and it takes a lot of studies across a lot of cultures, a lot of people, a lot of places to
A lot of
determine,
witnesses.
what's going on, what's going on.
And that's why I'm so interested in the psychology field now, because they still have even just the slightest understanding of how the brain works completely. They don't know if one part of the brain works with all parts, or if one part, fires off in a certain way. And
Mhm.
so it's
We're barely scratching the surface of our capabilities. I mean, back to the point of like what I keep saying. We only see a tiny,
Yeah.
tiny picture of the whole universe.
And like Katie said, a lot of these
Mm.
things that were kind of like dismissed as, not scientifically provable, they're starting to realize that it is, this
Right.
touch, these positive thoughts and vibrations and all this stuff. And
Well,
it's
we
amazing.
talk about Dr. Joe Dispenza and his meditation
Yeah.
studies.
Yeah.
He does CAT scans and brain scans on people before they do meditation, and then after they do meditation, and they can see a huge difference in what's happening to the brain. And they've been able to look at people healing themselves from a variety of diseases and problems just through meditation, as well as increasing their longevity and their ability to sort of stop and reverse aging,
Mhm.
which is really interesting.
It's kind of cool because like our bodies and DNA is pretty like interesting on a level to where like if you are to able to access that kind of like deep, deep, deep divinity of like being able, because like each of our cells can repair itself in a way, and if like I don't know, going as so far as to being like saying we can like fix ourselves through that amalgamation of all of these collective cells doing their thing, because it's weird, like our physical self is literally a rebuilt version that wasn't us last week.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's important to not really discourage children, and putting them into this mindset of, oh, you can't do that because this or that. Allow them to continue to believe and think these things, because as long as they have that positive mindset of being able to do it,
hmm
there's nothing that can limit them.
Well, even in the field of recovery, you might say, oh my gosh, I was an addict for this long and this is what happened. But what happens is you, you, s- you begin to look at yourself and you feel damaged in a way. Like you
Yeah.
damaged your body, you damaged your liver, whatever happened. But if you can come out of that and start looking at self healing and regenerating yourself to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
then you can heal and you can overcome the things that have happened or the things that you've done. For example, I like to say, "Oh, we're beings of light." And people are like, "Oh, we're not beings of light. We have electromagnetic energy, but we're not. We're just humans." Well, that's really special to be a human.
Yes.
And if we look at our cells, if we go even into the very nucleus of our cells, what's in there? Light.
Yes.
And if you consider that all the billions of cells in our body that's remaking itself every 24 hours,
Right.
we think about all that light is there to heal us. If we can just harness it through our thoughts, through our mind, through our energy, our feelings, through our imaginations, we can begin to really heal ourselves and emanate that healing to other people.
And our bodies are composed of, like, a large part of our bodies are composed of carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. And I think that's where the alchemy that we were talking about in the last podcast comes into play, is because they understood that, you know, and as the saying goes, ashes to ashes and dust to dust,
Mhm.
we're just constantly in this one big repeating cycle. And, for all we know, we could be composed of stars from billions of years ago that just happened to come together and cluster up and form the earth. So, we're eternal. And
Yeah.
What
I
up,
believe
Stardust?
that. Yeah. And I believe, you call me Starman from and I believe that, our consciousness are immortal. So, like, once
Oh man.
once we pass, then it's gonna rise into a higher astral plane. But I think that's another topic
Right.
for another.
Oh yeah,
They,
like
they say energy never dies. It just
Yeah.
transforms
Yep.
from one form to another.
Yeah, I remember doing a science experiment about that.
huh.
I had a candle, and then I had one of those, like, little pinwheels,
Mm-hmm.
so that as the candle burned, the pinwheel spun, and I said, "There's energy," and it's
Mhm.
just like it.
I really do believe that like our consciousness will reach a different plane once it leaves this one.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about quantum entanglement, and quantum
Yeah.
entanglement is a lot like the idea of being able to communicate our cells, our beings, able to communicate our consciousness
Yep.
at a distance. This is why maybe I can have a dream about my sister, for example, and she'll feel it. She'll know. And if we communicate, we would know that, oh, wow, you had it, this is what happened to me. I actually had that happen. My when my sister had watched a video about snakes,
Uh-huh. Right.
snakes, and I think that night I had a dream about snakes, and I was like, and in the video she saw a snake bite someone's ankle, and and in my dream a snake bit somebody's ankle, and I was like, oh my gosh! But we
Yeah.
used to share those kinds of events all the time. So when you're close to people and you tune into their energy and their consciousness, you can have this. You can experience some of the same events. That's why they talk about like remote viewing and
Oh
things
yeah.
like that, where you can just connect into someone else's energy and have a knowing about where they are, what's going on.
It's just a matter of intentional or not.
And is that number 8 right there? Heart rhythm entrainment.
Mhm.
Is that
Yep.
heart rhythm entrainment? When heart rhythms are coherent, the whole body comes into a healthy alignment, and the heart rhythms of individuals synchronize. This is called entrainment. This entrainment can be used to heal some diseases and cultivate a level of health in the human body.
Exactly.
And when two people sync up like that, it's I believe it, like twins.
Mhm.
Twins have that ability
Oh,
to do that.
man.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Especially twins. Twins have like that kind of like scary level. Uh, it always reminds me of that show Bob's Burgers
yeah.
between Andy and Ollie.
Oh yeah, those two little
Those
goofy
two
guys.
twins.
Yeah.
The one scene that comes to my head, Louise was trying to steal a candy from Andy, and Ollie's peeps up. Andy, someone's trying to steal something from your pocket. Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They
But-
used to call that mother's intuition, because a mother would know
Ah.
if their child.
Oh yeah, I've
they'd
heard of that too.
suddenly have a feeling that something was wrong with their child, or that something was going on, and a lot of times they were correct. So they called it mother's intuition or women's intuition, and yet we all have that ability. We all have that capacity.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, are you gonna listen to it?
Yeah.
You have to practice. You
Yeah.
have to practice it. Like, for example, if somebody calls me, I'm going to say, oh, that's so and so. Pick it up. I'm usually right on, because I just can tune in. I know who's calling me. Their energy will
Yeah.
come to me sometimes before the phone even rings.
I mean, sometimes it's a thing of like a feeling of knowing, not because like oh ESP, I know who it is, but like
Mhm.
it's a thing of like under the hood of like snap maths of like, oh, they usually call around this time of day, they're free around this, and like they're probably gonna call me about something about earlier, so then you just kind of know it in that instance without actually like another sensory going into that. But like it's that thing of like knowing and hearing it, that's that intuition that snaps into play of making you choose that decision to listen to it.
Yeah. And it's something that you can do. You can practice it. I mean, there's all kinds of tips and tools for psychic development that we could look at maybe in another podcast.
Ooh, yeah. Right.
But you definitely have to be healthy. You can't be addicted. You can't have a level of toxin in your body. You have to be healthy. You have to be grounded. You have to be focused and centered and balanced. I mean, all of these
Yeah.
things really play a part in who you are as a superhuman.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with a basic foundation of just being self-aware, becoming self-aware of our feelings, our emotions. And once we learn to start recognizing and more or less controlling it, I think we can start moving on to bigger and more powerful things in those terms,
Right. Right.
I was going to say earlier too that, science, well, my opinion, and this is my opinion, science is like a double-edged sword in that it has the ability to prove and show us all these things. But at the same time, for me, it seems like it has that ability to limit our faith and our belief in certain things too. And when we have these kind of doubts about like self-healing,
Yeah.
then because science doesn't prove it, then we can't do it no more.
Right.
But that's why I
Right.
said, like, don't limit a little kid's ability to believe in themselves. Encourage them along all the way. Like, oh, that's a beautiful painting, that's a beautiful drawing. Keep it up, keep it going, and you'll see them continue to grow.
Well,
The lessons, the one more from the Wellbriety, that's what it says. I think it's number 13.
Mhm.
Children are the seeds of our future. Water them with love and wisdom and life's lessons, and when they're grown, give them space to grow. And
right. And one thing that we need to understand, and this is so funny because people think it has to be, faith or science or spirituality or science, one or the other. But the
Right.
truth is, it can be both. It can be everything.
yeah,
It can all blend and work together, and it doesn't have to be one or the other.
yeah. And that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier in another podcast too, was astrology is the big, older, crazy brother of astronomy.
I'd say ant.
Alchemy is merely the big, older, crazy brother of chemistry, And,
Oh no, yeah.
because those alchemists, long time ago, they were making a bunch of chemical reactions, trying to find the philosopher's stone, as it were, so they can find that gold. But what I've come to understand, and what I think Mr. Yun, our favorite psychologist, talks about, is alchemy is that ability to transform these feelings that we have in our body,
That's-
transmute them into something greater and positive,
Right.
So
That's emotional alchemy. That's
Yeah.
what they call it. And there's actually a book named that. So it's a matter of taking these bad things that might have happened to you, these traumas or problems that you've had or whatever it is, and turning it into something that benefits you. And this is where I would tell everyone, no matter what path you've walked or what's happened or what you've done, you can heal, because you can basically, look at it, own it, heal it, love it, and you are the alchemist. You change it from the dark problem you had into the gift that helps you in life.
Because like that dark trauma can unintentionally fuel the negative things that you're putting yourself through, and it's a source of energy for sure.
Right.
It's just a matter of direction.
Right. And it's a matter of realizing, oh, my darkness is my gift.
And it is
It
part of
is.
me.
Yeah, it's part of me, and it's the thing that motivates me to change, to be better, to live better, to be better to other people, to be better to humanity, to the earth. It's the thing that motivates me sometimes.
And unfortunately, it's easy. It's very, very easy to get stuck in these mindsets of negativity, And once we get stuck in those mindsets, we get put in these grooves. And the more we take that groove, the deeper and deeper it gets, and the harder it gets for us to pull ourselves out of it.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
It's a habit to
So
think like
it's
that.
best to practice that optimism. And what I mean by optimism is, they say a glass half empty or a glass half full. We always got to look at it as half full, and that, we're going to make the most of what we have.
Yes.
Other ways to cultivate and celebrate love include practicing gratitude, be present to the moment, love others, prioritize family, communicate openly and honestly, be authentic, show appreciation and gratitude to others, create and uphold family traditions, smile at strangers and brighten someone's day, pay it forward, volunteer your time, create random acts of kindness, spread positively online and don't be a troll, help someone in need, resolve conflicts if possible with empathy and understanding, celebrate individuality and support growth, speak kind words to others, promote work and balance in your everyday life.
Right.
I like that one right here, that speak words of kindness to others. And for all our listeners out there, I just want you guys to all know that I believe in you. Whatever it is that you're doing, that whatever it is you're striving to achieve, you can do it. And I believe in you
Yeah.
because, someone believed in me, and look where I'm sitting at today. I would have never thought that 3 years ago in the depths of my addiction with alcoholism and drugs that I would be sitting where I'm at right now.
Wow.
But it's only because, like I said, because I'm an answered prayer, because people never gave up on me, because people were there to encourage me, to take the time to show me the way of how to get back into balance that I was seeking in my life once again. And, no matter what, don't give up on yourself, and just know that there are people out there that believe in you. And one of those people is me, and it makes me happy to be able to sit here, to do this podcast, to share my thoughts and my beliefs, my opinions, my ideas with you, and to have that fan base that listens to us. And it really takes in these words, because, I couldn't have done it without all of you guys here, and without all the people out there, and that's that coming together and synchronizing our minds, our hearts, our positive attitudes, and making it happen, and once we do that, that's where it goes back into that, let me see here. Whereby was it? I think it was
Somewhere in my notes.
Whereby was it? It was cultivating that positivity, though.
Yeah. I mean, and stay on the path. Reach out, get help, find like-minded others, find people that you resonate with, find people that are doing heart-based activities. Get into your own electromagnetic centers, and find out who you are, why you're here, and stay on the path.
Yeah, and I see all the people out there, doing their thing, and it makes me happy when I see people striving to better themselves and to help others. And, that's what the world needs more of these days,
Yeah.
And we definitely got to get back in touch with all those good things that we're raised up.
Love yourself, love others, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and the things that of like, whoa, happy Valentine's. Oh,
Happy Valentine's Day.
Does it do that? Happy Valentine's Day.
That's that positive energy.
Yeah.
See, she's spoken into reality now. So it's just.
I guess that's an OBS thing.
Oh, I guess I don't know.
I didn't do that.
That's real power right there too.
See, manifestation.
Hey, I'm just talking about love, guys. Love everyone.
One thing I do. One takeaway that I want is that like even if you have a support group and they're not an authentic support group, even the things that people say to you that aren't true, that make you feel bad, you still take those things and run with it. But you can also take the things that people like say good about you, but like they don't mean it. You can still take that and run with it. Take what you can of what you can to build yourself, to be a better person, to be able to output that energy and receive that energy more, and to be kind of a conduit of good senses.
Yeah.
No one knows you as much as you know you.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
And so with that, I hope that we've made somewhat of some good words that you can take with you and use for this upcoming Valentine's Day. If you're alone, don't worry, because I'm alone too. I don't even have no cats, so I gotta cry into my pillow at night. Nah, I'm just
I got a
joking.
couple
don't cry
extra
anymore.
if y'all need any.
But no, definitely love begins
yourself.
with love of self first. We can't love others unless we love ourselves first. And that's one of the things we say in recovery too. We can't help others unless we help ourselves first, and that's where it starts. Is with the self.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Get yourself some flowers and a little box of candy or whatever it takes. And remind yourself that you are worth loving.
And this shirt applies to everyone, that the universe does revolve around all of us, It revolves not just me, but everyone.
Everyone.
So we're all interconnected, and, we have that brotherly love for each other. And just know that I'm happy to present to you another episode. And I think that's
it.
What we got for today.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for being here.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming.
The sign off.